Hey guys, Ethan Zuke here, and welcome to a Zuke movie review, the very first movie review video on my channel. I'm very excited to make this video, and I'm actually very excited to review the movie that I'm doing in this video. So in the last video that I made saying that I was going to start a movie review part of my channel, I said that the movie I was going to review first was a Christmas movie, and I knew that two of you in the comment section, I think, actually got it. Two of you guessed Krampus, and that is exactly right. I am going to be reviewing the movie Krampus. Now, before we even get into the movie review, let's get a little bit on what this movie is even about. When a family of four get together with some cheerful relatives, Christmas spirit begins to get lost. The family members fight, insult each other, and overall forget what Christmas is all about. They may have gone too far with this behavior because they soon summon the demon known as Krampus. The family must come together to fight back this demon and look for a way out of this horror. Now, for those who don't know, Krampus is actually an urban legend that was created in Austrian and Hungarian folklore. He's practically the Lucifer of Christmas. On Christmas Eve, while Santa is busy handing out presents to all the good kids in the neighborhood, Krampus did the punishments for the families who were not so nice during the holidays.
Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear.
Krampus is a demon that was described as having black shaggy fur over his body, horns on the top of his head, and chains hanging from him. He carries a stick and a black bag. As the legend goes, if you did behave yourself that year, Santa would give you treats and presents. However, if you were bad that year, Krampus would come into your room at night and beat you with a stick before leaving. Oh god. If you were really bad, he would put you in his black bag and put you in his white van. I'm kidding. He'd put you in his black bag and throw you into a river where you would drown. Okay, I'm sorry, but like, who would tell their kids this? Like, how scary would that be? Going to bed on Christmas Eve and your family like tells you like, hey kid, make sure that before you go to sleep, you gotta make sure that you're prepared for when that man comes into your room and beats you with a stick. I don't know, that's just messed up. But now that you have a little bit about what the movie's about, it's time to actually get into the review so that you can decide whether or not this movie is worth watching. So one of the good things I liked about this was that it was actually really well written, and the performances were actually very well done. All the actors and actresses in the film made it very realistic. I actually believe they were part of a family. You know, and like the really like suspense that was made in it was really written well. All the dialogue, I mean, dialogue is my favorite part of a movie. I believe it's the most important part of a movie as well, and they did it perfectly. And overall, I really thought it was just a really good story. Since I've never heard about Krampus, I'm really glad that this set of actors, directors, and writers picked it up first because they really made a good movie. Another pro is that there were plenty of scares to go around. I mean, the monsters in this movie are enough to give me nightmares. Like that Jack-in-the-Box monster, just freaking kill it with fire, man. Like, it wasn't even just Krampus in the movie. Like, he had all his minions. He had his elves that were freaking scary. He had all those toys that would come to life. And, like, those things that were underneath the snow. I don't even know what the hell those were, but they freaked me out. Something that I really liked about this movie is that it wasn't too slow, but it also wasn't that fast as well. And, you know, tempo is very important in a movie. I believe if you drag it out long enough, you're going to get bored of it and people are just going to want to leave. But if you make it too fast, people really aren't going to follow along, and you know, it's just going to get tacky. So there wasn't really any time when I was bored or when I thought it was going too fast. It was just a really perfect mix, and I really like that in movies. And last but not least, they were literally, I mean, none that I could see. I didn't see any horror movie cliches. You know, the scares were really genuine and you didn't see them coming. And I think that's really important in horror movies, that you gotta like really catch us with our pants down. That's not a good term to be using when watching a movie. So although this movie did have some good pros, it did have some cons as well, and I'm going to go through them now. Now, if you heard about when I was talking about his urban legend, Krampus was actually described as having black shaggy fur all over his body. But in this movie, he actually didn't look at all like that. In fact, he actually just looked like regular Santa. He had a gigantic robe on, a hood that covered his face. I mean, when I was looking at pictures of Krampus and what he actually looked like, it was scary because he looks like a demon. But in this, he just looks like a kind of weird Santa Claus. So, I mean, when I compare the two of which one I would want chasing me down an alleyway, why does it have to be in an alleyway? I would have definitely chose the actual urban legend one because that actually looks really scary. I mean, I wouldn't want to like be in a room alone with one of those things. That's, Another bad thing is that this movie was kind of more of a comedy than a horror. It just didn't feel as if it was scary enough at times. I mean, I know it was a Christmas movie, so they kind of have a bit of comedy in there because, you know, 'tis the season, they have to have kind of some of that in there. But I don't know, I just feel as if they kind of overdid it and kind of just lost the whole horror aspect. I didn't really like that. This is probably one that I liked the least out of the whole movie, is that there wasn't any blood or violence. Now, I know that makes me sound weird, but I mean, I know I've grown up in 2015. 2015 horror movies have lots of violence, okay? That's just all I'm saying. The worst thing about this movie is that you technically don't actually see anyone physically die. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, the most, like, closest thing you came to seeing someone die is when someone got eaten by that Jack-in-the-Box monster, which was horrifying, by the way. There wasn't actually any confirmed kills in it, which kind of took away from the whole scary aspect. Like, why would you be scared of this guy if he's literally just dragging you out the house? Like, you don't know what he's gonna do to you. Maybe he's gonna take you to Costa Rica and you could go ziplining. Yeah, no, he won't do that. It's Krampus, he's a demon. I know this was a PG-13 rated movie, so obviously they wanted some teenagers to come see it, but they don't realize that teenagers nowadays are expecting like violence in horror movies. That's what I was expecting going into it. I kind of thought this was a rated R movie. I just looked it up now and I just realized it's a PG-13 movie, and I'm surprised by that. I thought it would have been a rated R movie. I'm not talking about like they literally walk into a room and there's like freaking like blood and guts everywhere and like somebody had diarrhea on the wall over there. Like, at least just some like what of like violence or actually like a confirmed kill. Like, I know there was like some blood in it, but I mean, a guy got his leg wounded and that was it. The last con of this entire movie is that some of the monsters seemed a bit childish and didn't belong in a horror movie. When I was walking into this horror movie, I was actually expecting like some scary monsters like walking down dark hallways and like, you know, there's something watching you, like one of those creepy freaking toys or whatever. And don't get me wrong, there were really scary things in there, but for like things like the gingerbread men that came to life or like the elves, that just didn't scare me because first of all, the elves in the movie just looked like little midgets wearing masks, which I bet you they were. And then the gingerbread men just looked like really, really poorly done CGI, which just kind of ruined it. I mean, where would you see a living gingerbread man in a horror movie? It just kind of ruined the atmosphere of it. I just wasn't really that scared after watching the movie. I was never awake at night thinking, oh no, a living gingerbread man is gonna come through my door and eat me. Well, first of all, the gingerbread men didn't even eat anyone. In fact, the gingerbread men didn't even do anything in that whole movie. They just were there to just be funny, I guess. Like, it was more comedic. So after all these pros and cons of this movie, I had to kind of think about this rating. If you're expecting to go in there and watching like a horror movie where you're gonna be physically scared for the whole rest of the night, you're kind of out of luck because it's not gonna scare you that much. In fact, it's kind of like only like when you're in theater it's gonna be scary because there's gonna be jump scares that are gonna make you jump, but after the movie's done, there isn't gonna really be anything that's gonna scare you after that. But other than that, it was actually a very entertaining movie. It did have some comedy, it did have some scary moments, which I'm very glad about. But it wasn't what I was expecting, and it kind of ruined my expectations. Because of this, I'm gonna give it a 58%. I think that's right, because, I mean, I know probably a lot of people are gonna go to this movie expecting that they're gonna, you know, see like these like really scary, you know, monsters and the really scary Krampus just running at the screen expecting you to like just jump out of your seats, but in reality that never actually really happens, which kind of disappointed me. It's kind of a disappointing movie. I was expecting more of it, but it still was entertaining, like I said, so that kind of boosts up its rating to 58. So is this a movie worth watching? It depends. If you're expecting a full-out, scary movie, then no. But if you just want to go and see a fun movie about a demon that goes and terrorizes a family, then hell yeah, go and watch it. But anyway, this has been Ethan Zuke. Peace and happy filmmaking.